Called me to order, 6 o'clock, get so worried getting home.
That's good.
Minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of September 17th.
Second.
Third. Do the ex officio reports.
Oh, I have some. Do you have any yet?
Yeah.
You can go first. if you
Go
do.
ahead.
Okay. Well, I had a couple of meetings. We had a planning board meeting the other night. In the last week. Stay there. Okay, and nothing much happened except we approved a subdivision. I don't have the map and line number, but it was up on Bullock's Crossing. And it was creating a 2-acre lot out of a lot that was, I think, over 100 acres. It's Mitchell's property. And that was tentatively approved pending the DES approving the test pit on the 2-acre lot. Even though the 2-acre lot's got a house on it right now, and it's got everything it needs. It's got a septic, but they still had to dig the test pit to do that. In the event that the septic system fails, there's a place to put it. So we're waiting for that. There's another a proposed subdivision, but nothing's happened on that. That's not needed, is it? And that's it for the planning board. And then right before the planning board, we had the capital improvement committee met. And we had a really good meeting, and what we're going to do is determine by department what they, we have a spreadsheet. It's all going to be on a spreadsheet like this that we've created, or Paul has created, and we're going to list all the future capital expenditures by department. You know, so like the highway department, for example. How many capital expenditures are they going to have? I mean, like everything they have probably has to be replaced sometime. So what we're charged with, the capital improvements charging coming up with a plan for 6 years. But we would like to know and talk with each department head exactly what their equipment is and when they think it's going to be due for replacement, so we could start to develop some sort of a plan. So that's basically where that is right now. And you know, unfortunately, they were all invited to the meeting, but none of them showed up. But it's also budget. The select board is pressing them for budgets, and we have the big budget meeting coming up on the 8th, so I'm sure everybody's busy with that. So it was decided the CIP meeting that we would, forget the term that we use, but we would fill these things out to the best of our knowledge and then get with each department head and try to make it as easy and painless as possible, put that information in to see where we can go from there. So, you know, that kind of ties in just a little bit with what we're asking the department heads to do, and that is come up with an inventory of their things that they have. And the inventory is going to be much bigger than the capital expenditures, but we need to get that in our hands too. So hopefully we can push this along and push that along at the same time. So that's where that stands. So that's my ex officio report for the evening.
Library had an uneventful meeting, just went over the budget. They're trying to re-itemize stuff so it's easier to distinguish what's for what. So we'll see how that goes at the big meeting. And the ambulance is on its way.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
The ambulance is on the way.
That's what's going to come the middle of the month, I think. I think Kathy had contacted me when I was working on the board one day, and she was hoping to line all these checks up that she needs to have, but the trustees have to meet in order to authorize that check. So that's coming up this Wednesday, so at some point after that.
Thursday.
Yeah, or Thursday.
Yeah.
And yeah, the ambulance will be here, so that'll be great.
I just got the budget committee set the first meeting on the 22nd of October. They're figuring to give Sarah a couple of weeks to get budgets all lined up. And
Okay. I mean, after our big powwow that we're gonna have,
Yeah.
we could set it up for the budget committee. Good.
Is that gonna be with all the departments, or are you just gonna go over the budgets then?
They're gonna set up
The time frame of the
Yeah.
meetings? Okay. Okay. Go right into it. Dolan Lane Road name change request. Okay. Dear Grafton Selectmen, I am writing to propose a road name change as the current layout of Dolan Lane no longer matches maps. When Dolan Lane was first named, the former owner used a portion of the private property at 11 Dolan Lane as a turnaround, southwest side adjacent to 9 and 13 Dolan Lane. The current owners, my 2 siblings and myself, have reclaimed that driveway as usable property and it is currently lawn. The former driveway was in a right-of-way, was entirely contained on 11 Dolan Lane and unnecessarily contained 2 rights of way on either side of 11 Dolan Lane, which is already a small plot. Tax lot 11A 232-3, inherited by Susan Bates and children. GPS maps show Dolan Lane as a cul-de-sac, so drivers to my home address at 11 Dolan Lane are almost always directed to drive on a driveway that no longer exists. Cause them to turn around in a neighbor's driveway or backtrack. It's inconvenient for visitors and delivery drivers. It could be dangerous in an emergency. As of now, my home at 9 Dolan Lane is the only one affected. However, other properties past my home are being developed. Neighbors are in the process of running electricity to their camps, and there is a potential to become a small neighborhood in the near future. To my knowledge, 9 Dolan Lane would be the only property that currently has a street address that would need to change. In the past, 3 Dolan Lane's driveway entrance was on the road, and on the road that I proposed to rename, but the current driveway entrance is on Dolan Lane, before the turn into what would be renamed road. I propose to remove from maps a section of Dolan Lane that cuts across 11 Dolan Lane. Keep the map section of Dolan Lane the same and rename the section of road that includes 9 Dolan Lane and other properties past 9. Currently without street addresses, Susie's Way, which please see 2 enclosed copies of 2016 field survey with notations.
So we have,
Oh, those were highlighted, cause that,
Yeah, I don't have a color printer.
and they're not gonna do
oh,
much
there's
good.
coded gray and gray.
Gray and some more gray,
You got
yeah.
the light gray, the darker gray, and the medium.
Yeah, well, the light gray looks white. So, can you come up and point your fingers at
I
us?
sure can. Okay, so, the way it looks on maps, so here's Tilton Pond Road,
Okay, yeah,
and then you go into Doton Lane, and here is my house.
okay,
And people are directed to drive here and
Okay.
around to
okay.
get to my house. This right here, we stopped driving on it a few years ago, and
So-
it's just lawn now.
Okay,
And it's not a right of way, it's no easement or anything, it's just because my grandfather wanted it to be a loop.
okay,
And so now, you've got the right of way that goes this way,
Yeah.
up the Wood Road, and then this is a right of way that goes up to the Whiteman's property.
okay,
So I'm the only one with a street address as far as I know. That would have to change, because there's no addresses past here, just lots.
okay.
And then this is, what is it? 3 Doton used to have their driveway right here,
Yeah,
so it would be after the turn, but it's more like here now.
okay.
He moved his driveway, so that was
So we moved the driveway. Okay.
yeah. I mean, there's still something there, but it was like a pile of rubble now, where he used to park. From the dam.
Other stuff apart.
Yeah, right. So this was the proposed map, that this, all this stay Doughton Lane, so
Yeah.
3 Doughton. It's actually not as clear as this is
Yeah.
a little more connected, but 3 Doughton would still be off Doughton.
Oh, okay,
And then all of these would be Doughton, 11 Doughton would stay, that, I own that one too.
okay,
And then this is the neighbors, they could still be Doughton, and this is my cousin's. So
so,
here would be on the new road that's going up here that goes left from
Okay.
Doughton Lane.
okay. And that would be called, like,
Susie's Way.
That's
is what
Susie's
I'm
Way.
Proposing, yeah. Or the highway.
Susie's Way, isn't that the way she was?
That's a little bit, yeah.
Only thing is, go back to this and that. All this, from starting here
Yeah,
out, isn't town road. We
right.
have no- I don't think we would have control.
Yes, we do.
We do in a sense. What's gonna have to happen with this, once we say it's okay, it goes to the 911 people,
And they would change
and
it.
they would change it. And we went through this once before, when we
Right.
renamed Liberty Lane, it used to be McIntyre Lane.
Yeah.
Then we changed it to Liberty Lane, and that's also, it's just like a
Like
private
Kingston
road.
Highway, Millbrook,
That all done was when
Dean Road.
when we introduced 911, all the town, I mean, it
Right.
used to be Kinsman Highway, but you couldn't call it a highway anymore,
Right,
because it's
yeah.
not a highway, you know, it sounds great. And that, when I first lived in town in 75, River Road was River Road, and then it got changed to Millbrook,
Millbrook.
because that was the original name from way back. But as far as a private road, for 911 purposes, it's gotta go through the 911
No.
people, so all the maps get corrected.
Yeah, so far Kathy knows where I am, so the 2 calls that we've had since,
Yeah.
she knows where to go, but
But you never know what's gonna happen
if
down
we don't
in
have
the future.
Kathy.
You know,
Well,
and,
Kanan might respond.
Absolutely.
you know, if we approve this and it goes to them, then it's no telling how long it will take for that
Right,
to happen. I just speak from, requesting, if you have a lot, map and a lot number, you own a lot, you're gonna build a house, you have to have a number, you have to request a number from them.
yep.
And sometimes that could be, don't be holding your breath. while
Hey,
they
you
figure
never
it
know
out.
how long
It's not
GPS,
urgent, really,
Yeah.
GPSs might not get fixed for a couple of years either.
forever. I've never seen a Google car.
So I would motion that we approve the proposed road name change.
I'll second it.
Third,
Thank you,
Okay. So we'll forward that along,
appreciate that.
and hopefully it goes by quickly.
Mhm.
Then we get a street sign.
Yeah.
DOT, bridge signage.
Yeah, they're doing a signage project, to place emergency vehicle weight limit signs on 374 bridges statewide. And they have 3 of those bridges are on our roads. So they need the selectmen's authorization or approval to put the signage there, that's all.
What is the sign gonna say?
It is going to say, it's like a
Emergency
weight
vehicle.
limit, they have it on the app.
Emergency vehicle weight.
Emergency vehicle weight limit, single axle 12 ton, tandem 26 ton, gross 46 ton.
What? Okay, well, I don't have a problem with that per se, but why emergency vehicle? Would that be the same weight limit as somebody else?
No,
Tire? And that won't, I guess if they're putting it all over the state,
6 ton.
yeah. So when we have a 6-ton limit, we put something like that up
To allow them.
to allow the emergency vehicles to
Cross
cross. And that doesn't mean somebody else can cross, even if they think it's an emergency.
Right.
I gotta get these logs out to the mill and it's an emergency.
But the bridges are Millbrook, Wild Meadows, and Wild Meadows.
So 2 bridges on Well Meadow.
The one, the little pudgies,
Yeah.
Yeah,
all placed, then probably one up above,
above,
that stone culvert.
right.
Yeah. Okay. Do we need to make a motion to, I'll motion that we approve the, what the DOT is requesting as far as the weight limits for emergency vehicles.
Second. Do you sign or no?
Just let her rip.
No, I think you guys just need a motion.
Okay, action items.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't update that list. Well, the spreadsheet itself. So let's see.
We'll just wing it.
Dam drainage is off, pole barn is off, nothing's happening with Avatar.
No.
Johnson Lane turnaround, I talked to Jeff, he said that he has worked out an agreement with the, landowners that were having issues with access, so, I guess he hasn't talked to Leaf yet, so Leaf has to talk to Jeff to see what's going on. I wanna find that out before I do any letter or anything.
Okay.
Junkyard, I did request Mitchell to go talk to him, I haven't heard anything since. That's for the, Blueberry Kinsman junkyard.
Mhm.
Equipment inventory, I think that's kinda like been put aside as we're doing budget stuff, I haven't gotten anything more, but I want them focusing on
We'll get to
budgets.
talk to them when they come in.
Yes.
Let's keep that in
Yeah.
our mind.
Yep.
You want this budget approved, eh?
Composting toilet ordinance.
Yeah, I've done some stuff on that. I had a couple of very nice conversations. I talked with the old health officer, and I talked with the planning board chair, and I talked with the present health officer, and we had a conversation about some of the things that I suspected that we might want to consider changing. And one is the setback distances. That's first and foremost. There's a couple other items on here. I don't know if I'll be able to recall them all, but like there's a limit. I mean, it depends on what we want to do, but there's a limit on composting toilets, and there's one toilet allowed per map and lot number of property. So if everybody had a standard size lot, I don't know how many people want to put these things in anyway, but if everybody had a standard size lot, that's fine. But if some people own large tracts of property, and we might be overstepping our limits by just saying you have 200 acres, you only have one. So we might want to take a look at
Well, that's being
rephrasing that.
neighborly.
Yeah, per dwelling or doing something like that. And we had some talk of the number of bins and whether they should be, it requires that they have a solid and removable cover to prevent rain. We talked a little bit about that. There's one reason not to have it and a good reason to keep that in there. Being as we have a big rainstorm or something like that. And I think that's all I have to say on that right now, but it's still a work in progress, and I appreciate all the help and advice that I get on that, and we just want to make it so it's doable and fair. That's the goal. Not make it so it's impossible for anybody to have one.
And then, we had talked about a report of junkyard on 140 Kinsman, and we talked about sending out a letter, but then there was some hesitation on whether or not that was the appropriate way to go about it, if we're missing a couple of steps in the process.
Yeah, I think that we did miss a step in that, I wasn't familiar with the property, then I went and looked at it, and then it all came back to me. We've sent that property a letter several years ago when I last was a selectman.
Yeah.
And, I'm not sure what the best way to approach it is, but how it was approached back then is a selectman was out the road taking pictures of the
Right.
property and like caused this big ruckus. So I think that then it made me start thinking about what the process is. And the process is, if you have a complaint to the DES, they're not going to act on it unless it's in writing. So I think that we should do the same thing. that if we have something in writing, then we should act on it. But if somebody just is telling one selectman that there's a problem and then we all act on it, I think we're acting, not that we shouldn't act, but I think we're acting too hastily on that. That's just my view. I think that it's something that we all should be able to see and review, and, you know, each case is different. I'm not sure how best to handle this case. I know that they had done things to their property, apparently, that made it acceptable before. And so, to me, I didn't want to have to keep going back and sending letters arbitrarily like that. And if we don't have a formal complaint, then how can we formally explain that we're not singling out somebody? Because there's no paper trail. So I think we need that.
Yeah, we should have a complaint on paper, right out to us. If someone just says this, there's nothing we can really do because we need a paper.
Yeah.
We do have the health complaint form that is accessible on the website and in my office if they want to put in a complaint. I feel like that's probably the better way.
It's right on the
to do it.
website, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the course of action we should take with that.
So put a pause on that until we get a formal complaint.
Yeah,
Okay.
and, you know, yeah,
That's it for the action items, unless you guys want to add anything.
Not right now.
no, not right now.
Tree bids.
Let me get back to
Yeah, we gotta take bids, put the bid out for the pole barn tree and the library lot. Cause that gets to the one that's.
He would like to do it, and we can't award him unless we put it out for
Because he's
others to
on.
bid, because he's an elected official, and that, once again, that looks like we clicked the hooks, yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
So I had posted for the bids and I received one bid for each job. So I posted it as two separate jobs. The
Okay.
pole barn was job one, and then the 3 trees on Library Road were a second bid.
Okay.
The pole barn I had done just for the cutting down, because we had a plan for removal. The Library Road one, it didn't sound like Elena was quite sure what they had decided to do with the access, so I had requested any bids before the cutting down with a breakout of the removal. So that if you guys want the removal too, you guys have the prices.
Let's not figure out who's paying for this. Angus is for the pole barn, $500.
Safely take down the balsam fir between the police station and the pole barn, town library. The town and the library are responsible for all clean, well, the town's responsible for all cleanup, but I heard that the library wanted that stuff, so they would volunteer to clean it up.
Make a motion to accept that one, that's the only one
Mm-hmm.
for the,
Yeah, I will second.
This is the one for the library tree work. 3 trees, bushy pine, bushy fir, and a sickly pine. There's from right as viewed from the select board office. Drop and cut into pieces that a piece of equipment can manage, $1,500. And chip brush using town chipper, leaving town to move large chunks at $1,500. or chip brush with own equipment, dispose of chunks behind town office at 2,300. Or remove all town, tree debris from town property at $3,000. So from 1,500 up to 4,500.
Okay, this is,
Well, to use own chipper at how much?
His own chipper?
3,000.
No, 2,300.
And then what was the 3,000?
Remove all tree debris from town property at 3,000.
so this is from a tree that's on the library?
3
Yeah,
trees.
three
along
trees,
Big
both by the
pine-
Gallic, where
Over
the
by-
Gallic
I mean,
is.
take them down all together, and
those big pines.
they're gonna be history?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, my thing being is,
That should,
who's paying for it? Last time I knew it was Fogel that was paying for it. So I think we need to make sure who's paying for it before we award that one.
it's either gonna be paid by Fogel or the library. It's their lot. They won't complain that they have full control over it.
So if they're gonna pay for it, wouldn't they be choosing which option they want?
Right, exactly.
So maybe we should push this, and let them respond to it.
Right.
And then see what they wanna do, because they may not wanna do that
Right.
at all. They say, hey, it's town property. Look what you made us do to use this lot, you know, why should we pay for it?
Right.
And they have a legitimate.
Ours.
So does someone want a motion to hold?
Motion to pass this off onto the library and see what they wanna do, hold up until the
Second.
next meeting.
Okay, do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, is that all that I have? Oh, that was the tree bids.
2025 budget.
I'm just leaving that on there if you guys
Oh,
wanna
okay.
discuss, then you can, or,
No, I don't think there's much we can discuss about the budget.
I have I've received a majority of the budgets, I'm just waiting for a few more, that are a little delayed. So I'm gonna prod them a little bit more to make sure that I've got that by the end of this week. Oh, and I also updated the, budget worksheet so that it includes the amount spent through September. So when I originally did it, it was through August. I've updated it so that it shows expenditures through September, so that when you guys meet on Tuesday, you have a more updated number to play with in front of you, rather than having to keep looking back at the
That'll be good.
reports. Okay,
Innovate lock-in agreements.
yes. And that will help the budget process too.
No way on October 1st.
Oh, no, she's fine.
Okay, so they can drop off tomorrow if they need to.
No, no. She just has to put a deadline. She says if there's a fire underneath some people's butts, but we're fine.
They locked us in at $3.19 a gallon
For oil.
for each.
And then what is?
Kerosene $3.19.
No.
Kerosene $3.19.
There's no propane.
Oh,
No, we don't
wow,
have
so
propane.
they're all 319.
No,
Okay.
so the
Oh, we're gonna do the fire
kerosene is the
Fire
same,
station.
They don't lock in fire, they don't lock in propane.
you know, like in propane.
That's not nice.
So would,
They just lock in for oil.
so oil and kerosene are the same price? Isn't kerosene usually more?
Yes,
Are we paying more for the oil to get the kerosene at the same price?
exactly, yes.
I can double check with her to make sure that that's accurate. But that is what she sent
You
us.
bought oil lately?
Yes,
How much was it?
I'm paying $3.19.
$3.19?
Yeah.
You know, I asked for some oil and Because I haven't ordered any in 2 years, I want to come inspect my tank first.
Well,
Who's that?
guess we're getting for
They put in-
319, yeah, 'cause as soon as I sign this, it locks us in.
That's Eastern.
As nice as they are to us, though, I feel like maybe we should.
What's that?
I figured as soon as I sign this, we're locked in for 319 for kerosene.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm wishing to accept the lock-in price.
Second?
They sent it, so it's not like Sarah typed it
No, I did not.
And we've been using them for now for
for a few
a
years.
few years.
We just switched our oil furnace for propane at home with them.
Just in time.
Yeah.
What are you paying?
Huh?
What are you paying for propane?
$269.
That's pretty good.
Lot map 20, lot 220-1.
So land use change tax, it's a 19.5 acre parcel that was entirely in current use. There is 0.13 acres no longer qualifying. The land use change tax in the 1.3 acre area is valued at $37,000, resulting in a land use change tax in the amount of $3,700. So if you guys agree, you guys just sign on that second page.
Okay.
LUCT,
Miss Millbrook.
and that's an acronym for land use change tax, okay. So it's a driveway clearing and electric.
Yeah, I did. The important part.
So, yeah, that's $37,000, that value of that, for that 0.13 acres. 0.13 acres, $37,000.
0.13 or 1.3?
0.13. 0.13.
You hear it, right?
So if you had 2 acres of land, what's the value of that? I mean, what's the standard value for a house lot? I thought it was about 50, maybe it's
Yeah.
more now, I forget.
In the letter, I think he did have some comparisons,
Yeah.
I believe, yeah.
It should be noticed as property sold during a prime for the clearing and service. Subsequent vision to see further progress made by the owner to determine no longer qualify. Yeah. No, I guess that's the way it is.
Yeah, motion to accept the land change.
I'll second.
Is it a dog?
That's what it sounds like.
Sounds like.
Okay.
Sounds like a,
It's like a
Like a
I
rooster.
thought I could hear a rooster. Sounds like a cross between a
Don't
goose
worry
and a
about
dog.
Jesus
It's
Christ, it's
disgusting.
just a
I'm like,
dog.
what is that noise?
Does this come from Avatar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that whole thing is from Avatar.
Hey, you good to be going on to the next thing?
Yeah.
While you look at that, 'cause it's gonna be a good read.
Oh, you're gonna read the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna read the whole thing because it explains.
Yeah.
This is from Avatar. This is about Millbrook Church. Dear board members, a religious exemption application was submitted by the Millbrook Christian Fellowship. The church resides on parcel 17-720, along with what is currently being described as a parsonage. Despite the mischaracterization as parcel 17-720 and 17-720C, I visited the property on August 1st, 2024 to verify which buildings are being used and for what purpose. I met with Thomas Warner, retired pastor or pastor emeritus, who still resides at the property in the above described home on parcel 17-720, card number 2. Mr. Warner is the caretaker of the church properties and also he leads services and workshops. During my visit, I discovered that the church still does not have a full-time pastor. Mr. Warner states that services are held every Sunday morning. Unfortunately, the church membership is dwindling, according to Mr. Warner. They are down to just 9 members. Last year at a BTLA hearing, it was found that there were approximately 17 members at that time. Currently, the only advertising is a sign in front of the church, which does not appear to have been updated in some time. There is also a church Facebook page that has not seen any activity in approximately 2 years. It should also be known that the church phone number has been disconnected. Currently, services are being held at the church on parcel 17-20, card 1, and AA members meet there once a week. On their application, parcel 17